Teddy, I want to talk about your reporting that liberal donors are pulling donations for two reasons: because of lack of strategy thus far from Democrats, but more importantly, because of fear of retribution from Trump. What can you tell us?
Things just keep getting worse and worse and worse for the Democrat Party. And guess what? I'm here for it all. As you just heard in that clip from New York Times journalist Teddy Schleifer, speaking with Stephanie Rule, laying out how DNC donors are pulling back their money. They don't believe that the Democrat Party has a strategy that can win. And then she slipped in a piece of propaganda by saying they fear retribution from Trump. Well, why would these donors fear retribution from Trump? Well, we're going to explore that in this video. I'm going to share several clips with you to let you see just how dark it has gotten for the Democrat Party, because without that money, without that backing, they're not able to fund those kooky protests and all those destructive strategies that they've been able to use in the years past. With USAID, their personal slush fund piggy bank being taken away from them. And now donors that have contributed billions of dollars to the Democrat Party over the last few years, especially during the Kamala Harris campaign, where she blew through $2.5 billion, $1.5 billion in contributions directly to the campaign, and another $1 billion that was raised by a super PAC, which you're going to hear Lindy Li talk about very shortly in this video. So check out this next clip as Teddy Schleifer lays out exactly why DNC donors are pulling away from the DNC. Check this clip out.
There is a deep concern that Donald Trump will retaliate. And I mean, to be frank, Trump has said he will retaliate. He said during the campaign that he believed, he would go after the deep state and their enemies, including, not just reporters, but also liberal donors and, anybody who spent any money to help kind of go after Trump during the first term. And these donors take him seriously. We know that there are wealthy people who are moving their foundations from Republican states to Democratic states, moving assets overseas. Some people have even moved overseas themselves.
Okay, this is all, again, propaganda pushed by MSNBC. President Trump never threatened to go after donors at all. Now, what did happen is under the Biden administration, the Department of Justice literally went after people that were even thinking about helping President Trump. Remember during that case, the case for the $400 some odd million with Letitia James? Anybody who was considering coming up to help Trump all of a sudden had the IRS climbing down their back, allegedly, and being attacked by the DOJ. So what they fear is the same thing happening to them, what they know was done to President Trump. It's amazing how that happens. The Democrat Party is great at deflecting.
So from all of our conversations, there's been a chilling effect. I think lots of wealthy people are scared, and that contributes to kind of a lack of public leadership that we're seeing right now, because even if Trump doesn't do anything, and who knows if he actually will, this doubt has been introduced where every move that a liberal billionaire takes today could be scrutinized more so than it would be under a President Romney or a President Cruz, and Trump is winning to that extent because he has kind of wealthy givers fearful.
Tim, seems like a fair fear.
I get, not really. I'm sorry. If you're a rich enough person to be able to spend 6-7 figures on political campaigns, you have a big moat around you, and you should really, frankly, be using your resources and your platform to help people that are an actual threat from this administration.
If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid. Hit that like button. I'll never ask you for a cash app. I will never ask you for a super chat, but you hitting that like button, it is currency. It helps spread the video around. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. On this channel, I share political and current events and then selling tips and techniques. So once you subscribe, hit that notification bell and select all. That way you will be notified when I upload new videos.
Look,
they use this BS crap about threat and whatnot. And the reason why people aren't donating is out of fear. No, people aren't donating because they don't support the direction that your party is going in. They know you can't win. They know that everything that you're doing is against the American people, and that is a losing strategy. And they're sick of throwing money away, just pissing it into the wind like they did with Kamala Harris. They fell for the banana in the tailpipe with Kamala Harris. They're not falling for it again. That's just plain and simple. And so to help them deal with that, they want to say, oh, people aren't donating out of fear of retribution. Just like they say the reason why Kamala Harris didn't win is because she was black and she was a woman. Racism and misogyny is why she lost, not because she was incompetent. These people make me sick.
and people working for USAID are losing their jobs. Immigrants, people that are here, even those who are here legally or who have family members who are here illegally, are under threat. We could just go down the whole list of all the people that are actually in threat from the Trump administration right now. It's not a bunch of rich donors. And I do think that there's been this kind of a concern that Trump will go after people as being used as an excuse for people to not actually put themselves on the line and speak out and speak clearly about the threats that this administration is posing. And I'm frankly kind of tired of hearing it. I think that there are a lot of people higher up on the list of threats than rich Democratic donors.
Tim,
Bingo. Just like I just said, using it as an excuse as to why they just don't want to give up that money. Oh, I fear Trump coming after me. Everything that they say Trump is going to do, this big fearful stuff, it never happens. But this is why the Democrats will always lose, will continue to lose, because rather than say, hey, you know what, maybe it is our strategy. Maybe we better, choose better hills to die on rather than the ones we have, because everyone we decide to die on is against what the American people actually want. And, fighting against the American people will never get you in those positions of power that the Democrat Party craves so much. Now, in this clip, we're going to hear from former fundraiser for the DNC, Lindy Li. Now, Lindy Li had an eye-opening experience, an epiphany, where she saw the Kamala Harris campaign, the Democrat Party, blow through $2.5 billion, $1.5 billion specifically for the campaign, another $1 billion in super PAC money. And they spent it on the silliest stuff. And so when you see the Democrat Party out here ranting and raving and talking about how concerned they are with the budget and yada, yada, but yet they were spending money, $100,000 on the Call Her Daddy podcast set, 5-star hotel rooms for campaign staffers, luxury meals for campaign staffers, outrageous ad spends, or giving $500,000 to Al Sharpton for a softball interview. But now they're so concerned about every penny, every nickel, and every dime going out the door. These people are nothing but hypocrites, and it makes me sick. So let's listen to Lindy Li as she lays out why the Democrat donors are pulling back their money. They no longer want to contribute to the lunacy. Check this out.
My initial disillusionment became clear when I realized that they essentially set $2.5 billion on fire. They raised $1.5 billion through the campaign, another $1 billion through the super PAC Future Forward. And there's been no accountability. We still haven't gotten any answers as to why Oprah, a billionaire, got $2.5 million through her production company. Why couldn't she pay for it? She's an oligarch. She could have just paid for the production costs herself. And not to mention the fact that they spent $450,000 putting Kamala Harris's face on the sphere. Now tell me why that would be helpful. Tell me how that would help her win. Obviously, that was utter failure. And then they spent $500,000 essentially bribing Al Sharpton moments before he interviewed her. And this is our hard-earned money. This is the money that I worked so hard to raise. I raised millions of this, and donors are feeling burned. And let me tell you, although I might be the only one coming forward, I haven't met a single donor who disagrees with me.
Wow. Now, Lindy Li just laid it all on the line. And this lady is courageous for what she's doing. She's caught nothing but strays from the Democrat Party ever since she decided to kind of pull the curtain back and let people get a peek of what's been going on behind the scenes, and how the Joe Biden presidency was actually President Obama's third term, and how if Kamala Harris was getting in, that was really the Obamas going for a fourth term, which is why it really explains this craziness that we saw out here. Only somebody that's sitting in their basement controlling somebody like a puppet, where they're not worried about any backlash, can make the decisions that the Obamas allegedly were making for the Biden-Harris administration. Even during the campaign, that was the Obama team that jetted in there to help her win with some of that Hillary Clinton sprinkled on top. And you saw how it worked out for them. Now here we have the article from the New York Times, venting at Democrats and fearing Trump, liberal donors pull back cash. So in this article, it says demoralized donors are frustrated with Democrats' failings and worried about retribution from the president. Their frugality has left liberal groups struggling to fight the new administration. The demoralization and fear gripping blue America in the early weeks of President Trump's administration have left liberal groups and their allies struggling for cash, hurting their ability to effectively combat the right-wing transformation of the federal government. Now, I'm not going to even read this whole article, but You hear where they're going with it. They're trying to create this fictional perspective where nobody's donating and supporting them out of fear of retribution from Trump during Trump's first term. He could have and he should have took Hillary Clinton to task, but he didn't, out of respect for the office and out of respect for the history of the country. While these people at the same time went after him like it was nobody's business. Like it was nobody's business. And they didn't give a dang about his family. They went after his children. They went after everybody. And so now this time around, and this is what they feared the most. They knew that if they let him back in, all of the things that they did, all of the foolishness and the stuff they tried to pull would be exposed. And when it's exposed, that would be the nail in the coffin for the Democrat Party. And guess what? He hasn't attacked and came after anybody except people that are doing wrong and committing crimes. So when you see Pam Bondi going after some of these left-wing politicians, they want to say it's always lawfare. No, there's dirt. Unlike with President Trump, he was the most, and y'all know, he was the most investigated man, if not the world, definitely the country. They pulled back everything on him in a search to find dirt. And it's one of two things. Either Trump is one of the best at hiding and subverting authority and getting away with crimes, or he's just a really good guy and a good businessman. And so as opposed to saying, you know what, people aren't giving us money, they aren't supporting us because our mission, our messages, everything is at odds with what the American people want. Failing to do that will be them failing to ever win elections going on as we move forward in the future, at least not the ones on the national scale. Now, you still have certain communities and certain cities where just because the person's skin tone, they're going to run to the polls as this person continues to just drive their city in the ground. I'm from Detroit. I've lived in Florida for over 25 years now, but I watched how Detroit was destroyed, ran into the ground, and that wasn't from Trump and Republicans. Those were black Democrats, but that was the issue. People there in Detroit were voting for based on the skin tone, and they hadn't learned yet that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And your vote should have nothing to do with somebody's race or even gender. It should just be, can they do the job effectively? If so, it don't matter if they're green. They should be the one to do it. And because, again, history has shown us just going off of gender and race-based politics, it does not work. It is a losing mission every time. So I just wanted to jump in and share that with you. I appreciate you for watching. As always, like the video, share this video too if you found it enjoyable or got some good information from it. And also, one of the most important things is subscribe to the channel if you aren't subscribed. Other than that, I'm Brian Maxwell. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out.